Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this Friday morning. Hope everyone's got their coffee or tea or water, or if you're feeling really adventurous, a soda. Anyway, I've got a few things I want to go over today in the news. Again, I'm really trying to get a little bit more consistent with these uploads. And as I said before, this is a new channel. We're looking to be little Tim Pool-esque, if I can say so, as far as looking at the news, reading articles that I find interesting, mainly focusing on some of the top, more important things. If I'm able to get to a point where I'm able to do these more consistently, I will be actively looking for other, news outlets and articles and all that stuff. But right now I'm just focusing on some of the big things. And of course, at the end of this video, in the title, I want to speak a little bit about Tim Pool and a individual who has now become insta-famous, Gary Lamb, on the internet, on YouTube, I should say. And so I just got some nice things I want to say about that at the end. But for right now, let's focus on the news. So this breaking news, first thing, FBI official on Mueller team said Flynn prosecution had, quote, get Trump attitude. Collusion probe was, quote, not there. FBI official William Barnett was assigned to lead the Bureau's original investigation into Michael Flynn. This has potential. I'm not one of those people that says, that sees things like this and goes, surely we've got them now. Like, surely this is the one. This is definitely the one. There's nowhere for them to hide this time. We're definitely going to get them this time. Like, we've been tagged along and teased about all of these things over the past 4 years, and nothing has ever come from a lot of these quote-unquote bombshell reports. All it does is, make a lot of headlines and piss a lot of Americans off, and then it just dies, and then some people forget about it, most people forget about it and go on with their daily lives because, us Americans have a lot of things we got to do. There's shit we got to get done. So this has potential. Again, I'm not going to get my hopes up, and I'm sure as hell not going to get anybody else's hopes up on this channel. So take what you read with a grain of salt. As soon as I see subpoenas and some convictions come around, that's when I'll start saying, okay, maybe this is something worth getting excited about. But for right now, this is just like, hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait and see what happens. So an FBI official who served on Robert Mueller's team said he believed the special counsel's prosecution of former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was part of an attitude to, quote, get Trump, and that he did not wish to pursue a Trump-Russia collusion investigation as it was, quote, not there, and considered it to be a, quote, dead end. FBI agent William J. Barnett made the comments during an interview on September 17th. This is all coming out now, about a week later, at the Justice Department before Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Missouri, Jeffrey Jensen, who was tapped by Attorney General Bill Barr to review the case against Flynn. Jensen has joined U.S. Attorney John Durham's team in his review of the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Those comments have surfaced in new government documents. So this is some pretty heavy stuff. Again, it's promising, but you really want to wait and see, what actually ends up happening. I mean, it just seems like this probe has just been going on and on and on and on, and it's because, let's face it, there's just mountains of evidence to go through. So, and I guess the longer these things take to be investigated and brought forth, because of the overwhelming evidence, you're bringing out as many charges as humanly possible into this overall case and investigation, so that way when you finally bring everything out and issue all of these subpoenas, convictions, whatever, it's like a broad stroke and you've got everything covered. But again, I think I can speak for a lot of people. We've kind of got fatigue on this whole thing. Like, look, just finish the damn thing and just get this over with, you know? Like, either get these people or don't. You know, at this point, a lot of people I know don't have any faith in this whole thing. So, let's see. Barnett, during his interview, detailed his work at the FBI and his assignment to Bureau's original case against Flynn and former Trump campaign Paul Manafort. Barnett said the Flynn investigation was assigned the codename Crossfire Razor, which was part of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. The Bureau's code name for the original Trump-Russia probe. There's all the official documents. I mean, this is all online if you really want to take the time to read it. So, Barnett told investigators that he thought the FBI's Trump-Russia probe was opaque. God, this shows my lack of English, and with little detail concerning specific evidence of criminal events. Quote, Barnett thought the case theory was supposition on supposition, the 302 stated, and added that the predication of the Flynn investigation was not great and that it was not clear what the persons opening the case wanted to look for or at. After 6 weeks of investigating, Barnett said that he was still unsure of the basis of the investigation concerning Russia and the Trump campaign working together without a specific criminal allegation. Barnett began asking agents what they thought the end game was in the Flynn investigation and suggested that they interviewed Flynn and the case be closed unless derogatory information was obtained, but said he was cautioned against an interview of Flynn due to concerns that it would alert Flynn as to the investigation. It's all so tiresome. Seriously, that just shows how it just shows how corrupt this whole thing was. Barnett, though, told investigators that he believed that Flynn's position as White House National Security Advisor in the upcoming Trump administration offered an opportunity for the FBI to conduct the interview without alerting any suspicion, and Flynn would see an interview as being standard procedure. Sure. The 302 stated that Barnett ran the request to review Flynn up the chain, but said the request was denied and described the FBI's investigation of Flynn as top-down. Meeting that direction concerning the investigation, we all know what that means. Andrew McCabe, who Barnett believed was directing the Flynn investigation. Barnett at the time said that he believed the investigation was problematic and could result in an Inspector General investigation. Absolutely. Barnett still did not see any evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government, 302 stated. Barnett was willing to follow any instructions. Okay, so this is a lot to go through, like a lot. This is a very long article here that you can read on foxnews.com. It should be on the front page for a little bit at least. This is some pretty heavy stuff. There's a lot going on in this. But so far, it's just a lot of firsthand accounts from this former FBI aide who's now on the, well, not aide, but agent, who was part of the investigation, who is now part of the team investigating the investigation. So a lot to go through here. It's got promise, like I said, but we'll see. The next thing I want to do involves mail-in voting, and this is starting to piss me off. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton announces 134 felony voter fraud charges in connection with a 2018 Dem primary. The allegations include election fraud and mail-in ballot fraud. As if we needed any more evidence that there's an issue with mail-in ballots, mail-in voting, and all that stuff ahead of the general election this year. Texas Attorney General, okay, we already know. Quote, it is an unfortunate reality that elections can be stolen outright by mail ballot fraud, Paxton said in a statement. Election fraud, particularly an organized mail ballot fraud scheme orchestrated by political operatives, is an affront to democracy and results in voter disenfranchisement and corruption at the highest level. I couldn't agree more. Gee, if only somebody in charge, of the whole damn country when it comes to election integrity could do something about mail-in ballots across the whole damn country. Gee, it would be a shame, right, if something were to happen on a national level. I needed a sip of coffee after that one. Gregg County Commissioner Shannon Brown, Marlena Jackson, Charlie Burns, and Dwayne Ward face 134 felony charges in total. The allegations include election fraud, tampering with a governmental record, mail-in ballot fraud, and more. God. To increase the pool of ballots needed to swing the race in Brown's favor, the group targeted young, able-bodied voters to cast ballots by mail by fraudulently claiming the voters were, quote, disabled, in most cases without the voters' knowledge or consent. This is what I'm talking about, people. Who says this is not going to happen in this general election for the presidency? I can't stress this enough. This needs to be stomped out now, before it's too late. We don't have a whole lot of time to get this settled. In fact, we may already be too late. I don't know. I was asked by somebody, what's the deal with this whole mail-in voter thing? Is this actually happening? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. I know early voting has already started in my state, and I don't know what's going on. The fact that some states have already passed passed legislation or whatever to allow the counting of late votes up to I think it was up to 6 days after the election, or 19 days. I forget, 9 days, something like that. Not 19. That's ridiculous. But there's just so much going on that it's just like, this needs to be stopped. If we can still stop it, I don't know. There's so much going on. Of the total charges, 97 felony counts were leveled against Jackson, 30 of them for alleged election fraud. So you can already see. I'm trying to see if they have any more info in here. All right, no. This is the other one. Department of Justice orders Pennsylvania County to change ballot practices after troubling findings. It is the vital duty of government to ensure that every properly cast vote is counted. Well, yeah, of course. The Justice Department sent a letter to Pennsylvania County Thursday ordering it to change its practice after multiple military ballots were found discarded. Discarded, okay? Tim Pool talked about this. It was, it's this is happening, okay? Whether you want to believe it or not, it doesn't matter whether you believe it. It's a fact. It's happening. And if you choose not to believe that it's a problem, not to believe that it's a threat to democracy, you're being willfully ignorant and your head's in the sand, all because you have a bias against the sitting duly elected president of the United States. The issue surfaced earlier in the day when the Department of Justice announced that it had recovered a small number of discarded ballots. While the Justice Department would not say where they had found the ballots, they did say that there were 9 recovered, 7 of which were cast for President Trump, while the other 2 were sealed by Luzerne County before the FBI recovered them. In his letter to Luzerne County officials, U.S. Attorney David Freed indicated that additional ballot materials were found in a dumpster. Freed said their investigation yielded troubling findings, including that the county allegedly improperly opened ballots. Improperly opened ballots? Are you freaking kidding me? This is driving me nuts. This is going to drive me insane. All of this leading up to the general election, which we're almost 1 month away. Like this, I can't. This is laughable. This is laughable how absurd this is. And nothing is being done about it. I understand that the Department of Justice has a mountain of things that they're going through right now, from all of these riots going on, prosecuting all of these people that they've arrested, dealing with this whole Durham investigation, and now you've got this. I think this takes the cake. This needs to be top priority in an election year. Election fraud on a national level. This needs to be priority number 1. Everything else comes second until the election is over and secured. This needs to be priority number 1. I don't care. I don't care about the riots right now. I don't care, because nothing's going to matter if the election is completely compromised and then the country spirals further into chaos, because that's what's going to happen if the election isn't fully secured and fully protected. It doesn't matter. It all is for nothing if the election is deemed compromised by one side, legitimate on the other, and then the country is completely split You want to talk about chaos on a national level? That is where it is right there. If this isn't figured out and stopped immediately, you're going to see massive, massive, massive problems that far outweigh things like the Durham investigation and the flashpoint riots across the country. You're going to see this like in your neighborhood. Like this is going to be on a national level everywhere, and there's nowhere you can run besides Alaska maybe to escape it. Okay. Let me take another sip of coffee. I hate to be doom and gloom and all that stuff, but I really am not a fan of the whole Civil War talk. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about civil unrest on a complete national level. If we're talking about a highly disputed general election, we already know it's going to be disputed. We already know the Democrats have made that fully clear, and President Trump has made it clear too, that it's going to be disputed. Okay, it is going to be disputed unless by some miracle that we're able to stop this voter fraud, stop all this ballot harvesting, stop all of this, reverse all of these areas, all of these jurisdictions that are trying to push out the ability for them to count mail-in ballots, like past the deadline, and that Trump wins in such a crazy landslide that it is literally mathematically impossible for Biden to come back and win, even with extended days to count the votes. That is the only way that this somehow does not get contested and goes into the courts. Okay? That's why this whole thing is priority number one in my book. Like, either Trump wins in such a massive landslide because we're able to protect the integrity of the election and the American people, the silent majority that I'll touch on in a little bit when I talk about Tim Pool and Gary Lamb. Unless that happens, this is going to be a disaster from epic proportions. Like, I'm talking shit we have not seen in this country in our lifetimes. So, like, I'm young. I'm relatively young. This is the craziest shit I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, crazier than 9/11, crazier than all the mass shootings we had within the past 10 years. Even crazier than this whole medical lockdown. I won't say the virus that shall not be named on YouTube, but yeah, this is going to be crazy, pure insanity, freaking gonzo. Okay, like, this is just, yeah. I'm sorry, I got really away from this article. You can go check it out yourself on FoxNews.com. And here it is again. New York Times columnist warns CNN of potential second civil war over Trump-Biden election. Friedman said he thinks Trump will inevitably dispute the election unless he's named the victor in November. Gee, that's funny. Not going to mention Hillary Clinton saying that Biden should not concede under no circumstances. Man. Gee, it must be so great sitting in an ivory tower and thinking everybody else is wrong. See, this is enabling right here, in my opinion. This is radicalizing people that are so insane. I mean, you're already seeing it in the streets in cities across America. Then you start talking about this, pairing it with this. You're just calling for more unrest in the streets and talking straight up violence in the streets. And so yeah, I'm not going to give this too much attention. What I really want to do, what I really want to focus on, is some people that sorry, some folks that I actually really enjoy as far as like YouTube goes, as far as like independent journalism and all that stuff. This is where I want to talk about. This is where I want to talk about like folks like Tim Pool, so, and the whole Gary Lamb thing. So first off, Gary Lamb, if those of you who haven't heard yet, Gary Lamb is a working man. He is a big a big Tim Pool fan. Let me go ahead and put this up here. So here you are. You can see Gary Lamb. This right here, this was posted 2 days ago. Already has 589,000 views. It is an awesome. It's obviously his best video. He's actually a YouTuber who's actually been doing YouTube for quite a while, and good on him. It's good on him, and basically in the video he goes over how he had a very rough upbringing, which both my partner and I were very upset to hear about. It's never good to hear about those rough upbringings in childhood and teenage years, but when you hear how people like Gary Lamb were able to overcome those challenges early in life, to stay on a straight and narrow path, to persevere through all of those challenges and still lead a good life, it's very inspiring to hear. And it is a testament to the working class of this country. And I can't stress it enough. Go listen to this video. Go listen to this video. It is very, very heartfelt. It's very genuine, original. You feel like this is somebody you would meet in like your local bar, or wherever else, like someone you would just run into at like your local coffee shop and have a conversation with, and you would hear this type of a story. And he intends to vote for Donald Trump, and he credits that to Tim Pool. And he says, if it wasn't for Tim Pool, unlocking me, his quote is direct from him, unlocking me, he'd still be, I'm not really sure. I know I just listened to this video, but I don't want to say something out of context here. But basically, he says he wouldn't be where he is mentally if it wasn't for Tim Pool, and that's really refreshing to hear. And he intends to vote for Trump, and he says that there is a silent majority. I'm not sure where this gentleman is located, but he says there is a silent majority. He says he works with them. He sees them every day. He talked to somebody who was an immigrant and said, who are you voting for? And the guy said Trump. And like he gave him a hug, and he was like, man, that just makes me so happy to hear that. He says there is a silent majority, and that Trump is fighting, like Trump is the reason why he's been able to be so successful as far as like his work. And he's a working class gentleman like myself, and I hear his story about how he overcame a lot of terrible things. I'm not going to say, it's not my position to say. I'll let you go and listen to his video. It's his story. I'll let him say it. And it makes me think about all the things that I've had to overcome in my life. I had good parents. My parents were separated, unfortunately, divorced, but both of them worked together to ensure that I had as good a life as possible. Now, growing up and all that stuff, I didn't always have a lot of money or anything like that, but I had a good childhood. I did. And, I give many thanks to my parents. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, on both sides when I was younger because of my mom, and in my later years because of my dad. Both have done so much for me. And I have to say that, in my young adult years, there was a lot I had to overcome, sleeping on floors, sleeping on couches, sleeping in my car, not really having a home per se for a little while, moving all over the country, just job hopping, just not really having any direction in my life. And there was a combination of people that have really changed my life on an influential level. So hearing that story, hearing Gary Lamb's story makes me reflect on my own life, and makes me have hope that there is a majority out there, a silent majority, that does want to vote for Trump but doesn't want to say it out loud because obviously they don't want to deal with the ostracized, being ostracized by the community. And it gives me hope because it makes me believe that, there are more people out there like me. Obviously, we all know that there are many people out there who've had to overcome tragedies, that are recognizing that the correct vote is for Trump, and he's fighting for what we're fighting for. He's fighting for us to have the opportunity to provide for our loved ones, our families, being able to make something of ourselves. I'm no college educated, super genius. I have a high school diploma. I had like a 2.7 GPA. School was never really my thing. As soon as I turned 18, I joined the workforce. 6 months after I graduated high school, I was working electrical construction. Before that, I spent a summer working at the mall. And then eventually I got in through a friend, with my friend's uncle's electrical construction company. 18 years old, greenhorn worker. Steel toe boots and hard hat on a construction site. If you want some life lessons for young people, anybody who's out there, I'm telling you, work construction for a year. Even if you don't like it, do it. You'll learn some valuable life lessons and some work ethic lessons that will be irreplaceable in your later years. So, Gary Lamb, I want to thank you for your story and making me reflect on my life and giving me hope that there are more people out there who are going to do the right thing on election day. And I know that sounds biased, but it's just a fact, in my opinion. I know I just kind of talked in a circle there, but it's a fact that I believe to be true, that the only right vote this time around is for Donald Trump. Now, to Tim Pool, I want to thank for all of his hard work. He's the motivation for me doing this. Even though I may disagree with him on a few things, what really turned me around to what really was the defining moment for me on Tim Pool was when he decided to vote for Trump. When he publicly announced that he, barring any major setbacks, was going to vote for Trump, and did a whole video dedicated to outlining his plan for his next 4 years. And I was like, wow, he actually did it. Because I started watching him when he was saying he would never vote for a Republican, he would never vote for Donald Trump, and seeing him turn that corner, it was like watching a character arc from a story from beginning to end. And it's just like, wow, it was really impressive. And I must say, I'm impressed, and I am, yeah, that's really it. I'm just really impressed with Tim Pool being able to do that. And he also did a response video to Gary Lamb. And of course, that's one thing I'm leaving out. Donald Trump pinned this video to his Twitter and said, "I will not let you down." And that is heartwarming, very heartwarming. The fact that that him and his staff were able to find this video and pin it to his Twitter and saying, "I'm not going to let you down." That speaks to the heart right there. And, Tim Pool has my respect, and I respect his work ethic, his grind. I mean, the dude puts up videos 7 days a week. I don't think he's ever taken a day off. I've watched his videos when he's been sick. And I give him a lot of credit, and I thank him for all the work that he does, because I believe that he has been a major role in the deciding factor for a lot of young voters. And I hope he continues to be successful. And I also, what else? I feel like I'm kind of rambling now. But yeah, I just want to thank him as well. I mean, watching him be as successful as he is, I mean, he was talking about it on this video. He was just like, "I'm just a guy who turns on a camera and talks about my feelings about things." And he gave some words of advice for people who want to do the same thing that he does. And he says, just start doing it. Like, just turn on a camera and just start doing what you want to do. Start talking about what you want to talk about. And you know what? As basic as that information is, those of you who want to be a YouTuber and talk about certain things or do certain videos, that's really how not easy, but that's really how it is to get started. You just turn it on the computer. Of course, you're going to stumble through your first. Just watch my videos. They're train wrecks. I don't even have a camera on me. You know, I'm doing this trying to be as anonymous as possible. But, you know, all I am is recording my screen, talking about some things that I find interesting in the news that need to be talked about, and I put it on Parler. And by the way, if you don't follow me on Parler, please do. The Informant with a 0. And yeah, so that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. We will be doing a special video tomorrow after the Supreme Court announcement for President Trump, and we will be mining the salt mine. We will be manning the salt mines and tracking all the hit pieces. So until then, stay safe, do good work, and God bless America. I'll see you all tomorrow.